Hey guys, and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and absolutely more talk about Shadow of the Erdtree. Yesterday we got that story trailer, the second official trailer for the DLC, and with that I made my initial reaction video, the lore, and any gameplay details I could highlight. Since then, I've had a little bit of time to sit on it, and there were more official sources of information to draw from. Also, a good amount of community discussion around the topic as well. So, this is my little update, the extra details to consider and discuss. Let's just begin. First up, we'll start with that overview that I want to update a little bit. First, highlighting the voiceover for the whole trailer to put it into context. Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning, the seduction and the betrayal, an affair from which gold arose, and so too was Shadow born. What followed was a war unseen, one that could never be put to song, a purge without grace or honor, the tyranny of Mesmer's flame. And so, kindly Miquella would abandon everything, his golden flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate. But we are not deterred, we choose to follow. Will you walk with us? This is a story in three parts. We have the beginning of the Golden Order, where Marika takes this power from a strange, bloody location. The power appears to be a great rune, which she then goes on to use to shape the Elden Ring as we know with it. The seduction reference could just be her being seduced by the power that this will bring, or maybe she just seduced someone to get herself here. The act seems to be a betrayal of some kind though, that's for sure. Now, the location reminds me of the catacombs as I mentioned yesterday. In short, the catacombs all have the same ending, a large room with tree roots sneaking in and piles of bodies woven into those roots. This ties to the Crucible faction, which was dominant before the Golden Order. The Crucible tree existed before the Erdtree as we know it today. The remembrances are like essences, the soul of a person, which can return to the tree like we see with the Morgott cutscene. But before that, the Crucible faction would say physically bury their dead within the tree, since they couldn't take their soul or whatever. So loads of people are dying, they're being buried in this tree, and as a part of that, catacombs served as another way to do this. The roots of the tree spread deep and far, and so deep underground you could find them and then bury your dead there. We see the same thing on a much larger scale with the body of Godwyn. His giant fishy corpse is tangled deep underground into those same roots. When we look at this opening, this entrance to wherever Marika pulled that power from, I think this looks just like the opening of the Erdtree. This triangular entrance or opening where we would attempt to enter the tree in the game. I believe this location is indeed the Erdtree, but just in its earlier OG form, the Crucible tree, with all the dead buried and placed within, creating the very shape of it. Next then, we have the unseen war that followed that event. We know that the Golden Order forced other factions to join them through force, trickery, even marriage. We know that the Crucible was crushed by the Golden Order successfully, while factions such as the Carrion Royalty had to not be overcome with force, but instead a new method. Radogan appeared, married their leader, bringing them into the fold without, being able to defeat them directly. I believe what we're looking at here is the destruction of the Crucible faction at the very beginning of the Golden Order, described by the voiceover as a purge without grace or honor under the tyranny of Mesmer's flame. There's a lot of sin or heretical concepts shown in the Land of Shadow, and Mesmer is a really in-your-face example. The blood flame, the dragon-like eyes, the snakes and snake theme, which are considered a traitor theme by the current Golden Order. They're basically doing anything possible to crush the Crucible faction here and get the Golden Order started, even if that means things that are normally considered heretical are used. Next, we see the Miquella followers, those that followed Miquella into the Land of Shadow in our current time, where, we're doing the same thing at the start of this DLC. These interesting gold icons are displayed in lots of different locations. These are places that Miquella has been. I believe these are the footsteps of Miquella, so let me quote Miyazaki himself. Essentially, the player will be following in those footsteps in the same way that they followed the blessings from the grace, the sites of grace in the lands between. Again, they'll be following in Miquella's footsteps, and these will guide them through the Land of Shadow and reveal that motivation to them. So I believe these will replace the graces of the original game. They'll guide us to where we need to go, just like the graces did, and again, function much like a bonfire or grace otherwise. So now we've recapped those three sections of that main story trailer, let's talk about some of the new stuff. But as we do, let's start with the OG official description on the website. Fall from Grace, the Land of Shadow, a place obscured by the Erdtree where the goddess Marika first set foot. A land purged in an unsung battle set ablaze by Mesmer's flame. It was this land that Miquella departed, divesting himself of his flesh, his strength, his lineage, of all things golden. And now, Miquella awaits the return of his promised lord. Miquella awaits the promised lord. That's us, I assume. We can go on to become Elden Lord after all, and I imagine someone that powerful is going to be useful to Miquella. After all, he's apparently abandoned his golden flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate. He's had to give up a lot to make it possible to come here. So whatever his goals actually are, he now needs someone to enact his will for him. And that is surely where we come in. But here's a new image from Software with a few lines to it as well. Marika's golden order was birthed from Shadow. Mesmer's flame purged the lands. Miquella would abandon grace in pursuit of something greater. Will you walk with him? Again, this really indicates that Miquella is here for a specific purpose, and he expects or hopes that you will walk the path with him. However, that suggests we could go against him. We could instead do something else. Maybe we could side with Mesmer, or take the power Miquella's hunting here for ourselves. It's hardly a stretch to suggest From Software will let us choose more than one ending in this DLC, but that image at least suggests there seems to be a choice. Next up, let's look at some cool details I noticed. Firstly, when Marika actually reaches into whatever the hell she's reaching into there, we get a glimpse of something interesting, a little gold bracelet. And the reason that's interesting is the design. It's a single line stretching around her arm with two starting or two ending points. To me, that looks almost like a golden snake wrapping around. In fact, you could say that it's a snake with two heads. Now look at Mesmer and his two snakes. Am I crazy in thinking that's just some really subtle imagery or meaning? The birth of Mesmer is a big question, right? We don't have clear answers to that. He refers to Marika as if she's his mother, and he was there after she claimed the power and then began the Golden Order. He served her purposes then and seems to still now. But where did he come from? With his red hair, it's an idea that he's the secret first child of Marika and Radogan, even as far back as then. Since Radogan is Marika and vice versa, who's to say when the concept of Radogan was even possible? Certainly after she claimed the power, and we do see Mesmer in that second section after that's happened. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have anything concrete to tie that to. It is just speculation. Moving forward though, here's a fun thing I wanted to do. The big group of Miquella followers, now when I call them followers, I want to be clear that I mean that in a literal sense. They have followed Miquella into the realm of Shadow, not necessarily that they're a part of his faction or whatever. I think they actually want to deceive you into thinking, yeah, they're all part of the same gang who wants to help Miquella, with the voiceover suggesting as much, and that holy reverence that's shown to this golden trace of Miquella. But I don't think that's what's really going on, and the website key feature description now reveals a lot. A new story guided by Empyrean Miquella. Players are beckoned to the land of Shadow, a place obscured by the Erdtree where the goddess Marika first set foot. In these strange new lands, players discover the dark secrets of the world as they meet others who follow in Miquella's footsteps with ulterior motives. I mean, that just confirms it. At least some of those NPCs aren't there to help Miquella. That's for damn sure. If you stop and look at the group again, you can see how actually it's only two standing close to the golden symbol. Only two that look like they're basically worshipping it. The rest stand apart, further back, and at least some of them have their own motives, as said there. So there's obviously more to the group and their plans. Now the fun thing I wanted to do is find all those NPCs in trailer 1, the gameplay version, compared to the cinematic version. It looks like they actually all appear. First up, there's this robed figure wearing a helm, and they seem to have white or light blonde hair sneaking out the back. I believe this is the character who helped us enter the cocoon at the very start of the trailer, and will be the first one we meet in the DLC, guiding us to begin with. Next, we have this knight that's touching the footsteps of Miquella with reverence. They and that same symbol were shown in the gameplay trailer at 47 seconds, and it looks like the same location even, just now at night. The Great Sword Fellow is shown next at 49 seconds, standing much the same with the sword planted point down, clearly some kind of fighter type. The Pot Knight, as I'm calling him, was shown next at 51 seconds, kneeling down with his pot. There's a lot of silly but fun speculation that he's going to try fill that jar, to create a warrior jar or something like that. You can see him at the back of the group in the group shot though. Next at 53 seconds, we see a sleeping character that a lot of people thought could be Saint Trina. The purple, the flowers, the sleeping. But there was a lot of speculation that's very valid that Saint Trina is just Miquella under a false name when he traveled the lands. This mask-wearing sleeper is also in the group shot and is very clearly not Miquella. So I'm thinking this is just a new different character. On this next one, I can't quite tell if that's a person, the thing or person that's furthest from the POV of this shot. A tall figure wearing black with quite the tight helm or hat of some kind. I'm wondering if whoever this character is sitting on this chair or throne in the dark church or whatever this is, maybe that's the same person? It does seem close. Finally, there's also this monk-like figure with a flat-rimmed hat, also treating Miquella's symbol with reverence. He also appears in the gameplay trailer, but much later than the rest. At 1:53, we see this fighting character wearing the very same outfit and hat, flying through the air as they kick this knight with an entirely new style of combat. Either that's the same guy, or we're wearing his clothes and using his weapon, as it were. But yes, it seems like they're all shown in the group shot and then also shown in various ways during the gameplay trailer. So yes, they're going to be very important characters. That is obvious. Lastly, here's just a couple fun posts I saw from the community. There's that shot of Miquella falling down in purple. A lot of people have been looking at this and going, oh my god, is that Saint Trina? I think so, because the speculation that Saint Trina and Miquella are the same person, I subscribe to. But it was these images and comparison shots that really sell it. Lee posted this one of Trina's lily next to the same falling shot, and they do look rather similar. But it was Wahushka here that posted instead a nascent butterfly, and that looks even closer. The description of the nascent butterfly is that this butterfly appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. That is very much Miquella related. Next, we have this fantastic comparison shot of the seal talisman. There's radahgans and marikas, and both of them actually look like, well, Marika when she's holding up that rune in this new story cinematic shot. When they evolve, they kind of deepen, and Radahgan's changes to his kind of cross pattern that we see when, say, the tree is sealed in game. But Marika's is this holding the rune above herself, and then also kind of being crucified at the end. Lastly, this theory or consideration from Sekiro Dubi, who referenced the whole bloody taking of power and suggesting that this could have been the Formless Mother. From the description of Mogwyn's sacred spear, it's an instrument of communion with an outer god who bestows power upon accursed blood. The Mother of Truth desires a wound. And then also shared by Sekiro Dubi, the blood boon incantation. Thrust arm into the body of the Formless Mother, and then scatter the blood flame to set the area ablaze. There is similarities undeniably. The thrusting the hand thing is pretty on the nose. But if the Formless Mother is formless, how is it so physical here? So I'm not sure about this one. But that's everything I wanted to talk about today. After a bit of consideration, the new official information we can connect the dots with, the community posts, looking at some of the old stuff in game. Now, let me know what you guys think. It's been great to have something to speculate and talk about again. But now we've got less than a month to the DLC, so it's pretty exciting. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.